Hello and welcome to my tutorial entitled The Divi WordPress Theme for Beginners. This tutorial is part of my Udemy course. You can find a link to the full course in the video description. The full course includes lessons on some of the more advanced Divi features like animations, hover effects and pre-made layouts, as well as creating 4 additional pages. You can find a link to the course files used throughout this tutorial in the video description. Here's a little look at the homepage we'll be building throughout this tutorial. You can find a link to the full website in the video description. If you like the look of it and you want to learn how to create a page like this, stick with the video and we'll get started building a professional looking homepage using the Divi WordPress theme by Elegant Themes. Hi, welcome back. In this lesson we're going to install a fresh copy of WordPress. If you've already got WordPress set up or if you don't need any assistance with it, then please feel free to skip this lesson. For the rest of you, I will now go through the process of installing WordPress. The first thing you'll need is web hosting and a domain name. I can't tell you exactly which web host to choose from, but some popular ones include Bluehost, GoDaddy, HostGator, SiteGround, or 1&1. If you want to compare your options, take a look at www.hostingadvice.com/reviews, where they break down the pros and cons and the pricing for each host. Personally, I use Lightning Base, as Divi can be quite resource intensive and Lightning Base is specifically configured for WordPress websites. Lightning Base costs $10 per month and then $5 per month for every subsequent website. This is a little more expensive than some of the other companies I've listed, but I feel it's worth it because it means my websites load quickly. If you prefer, you can set up WordPress locally using a program like MAMP. For this course though, I'm going to do it on a live domain. Now, most web hosts will feature a one-click WordPress install. This should make it very simple for you to set up WordPress. Check the help section of your web host's website to see if they offer one-click WordPress installation. The process I'm going to show you is installing WordPress through cPanel. Okay, so here we are in cPanel. Now, the first thing I will do is to set up our database, because WordPress needs a database in order to run. So I'm going to scroll down until I get to this section here, Databases, and I'm going to select MySQL Databases. The very first box here is inviting us to set up a new database, so I will call it Fox and select Create Database. You can see it's added the database. So go back. Along with the database, we need a user for the database. So if you scroll down a bit, you get to MySQL users, add a new user, and we're going to go with Fox user. And we're going to pick a strong password. Or you could use this box here to have cPanel generate a password for you. And you can see my password is very strong, so I'm going to go with that. Hit create user. Oh, the passwords don't match, so I will type that again. And now the passwords match. Okay, so the user has been created. The next step is to add the user to the database. So if we come down to add user to database, we're going to say the Fox user. We want to add it to the Fox database and select add. And we want to grant the user all privileges on the database and select make changes. A little box will come up saying that that is done. So now we can go back. And that's us set up with everything we need in terms of a database. So now what we need is WordPress. So to get WordPress, go to www.wordpress.org and there's a blue button that says Get WordPress. Select that. Scroll down a bit and you'll have the option to download WordPress. Save it to your computer somewhere that you know you'll be able to get back to. That's it downloaded already for me. So I'm going to come back to cPanel and go to Home by selecting this icon in the top left. And then I'm going to go into the File Manager because we need to upload WordPress. So that's usually you will upload it into your public HTML folder. I'll go in there. You can see that I've already got a lot of files in there. That's because I already have WordPress set up on davidsharkey.net, which is my website. So what I want to do is install it into a subdirectory. So to do that, we will add a new folder, and I will call this Blue Fox. And I'm going to create that. You can see it there. If you don't already have a website set up, you'll probably just be uploading WordPress to this directory here, your public HTML directory. So I'm going to go into Blue Fox, and I'm going to use the upload feature. Then I could just take it from the Chrome download here. Otherwise, you would browse to it on your website, on your file explorer, and just drag it into the window there to upload. You can see that that's done. So I will go back. I will reload, and there you can see WordPress has been successfully uploaded. Okay, so that's a zip file that we uploaded. So now we need to extract the zip file. So to do that, you can just right click on it, select extract, and we'll just extract it into Blue Fox. So select extract. It will come up and confirm that all the files have been extracted. So reload the page again, and you'll see that it's created a folder called WordPress, which is good, but that's not exactly what we want. We want to move the contents of this WordPress folder back one directory. So go into the folder called WordPress, select all of the files, right click, and select Move. Now take out the last bit of the path here, which says WordPress, so it's just going into Blue Fox, and select Move Files. That directory will now be empty. If you go up one level, you should see that our directory now has all of the WordPress files. So we can delete the zip file just by right clicking and selecting delete, and you can delete the WordPress folder as well by selecting delete. So that's exactly where we want WordPress, in this folder that says Blue Fox. So now we're ready to begin the setup. So what we'll do, open a new tab, and in your address bar, type in the address for where you uploaded WordPress. So in my case, it would be davidsharkey.net/bluefox. Okay, if your upload was successful, then you should be greeted with this screen here where it's asking you to pick your language. I'm okay with English United States, so I'm going to click continue. We're now greeted with welcome to WordPress. So this is where we will set up our database. It will need the following information: database name, username, and password. So these are things that we've set up and we should have handy, so we should be ready to go. So let's press let's go. Okay, so our database name we take from cPanel. So come back into MySQL databases where we were before, and we can just copy from databases. So it's davidshah_fox. We'll come back to the setup screen, paste it in for the database name. For the username, I mean, we could just type these manually, but sometimes it's better just to copy and paste to make sure we're getting the exact letters correct, because if anything's incorrect, WordPress will not accept it. So then type in your password. I'll blur that out. And database host is almost always localhost, so just go for that. And table prefix WP_, that's absolutely fine. That should be all our information correct, so just press submit. And if it's gone well, it will say, all right, Sparky, you made it through this part of the installation. WordPress can now communicate with your database. If you're ready, time now to run the installation. Okay, great. So it is just asking for some final information, which will be a site title. I'm going to go for Blue Fox Web Design. For the username, I'll just stick with David. For the password, WordPress has automatically generated me a very strong password. So what I'll do, I will copy that password. Feel free to pick your own strong password, but make sure it's not a weak password. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to keep it safe for the future, because you will need it to log in to WordPress. And I'm going to add my email address here. And for the moment, I'm going to choose to discourage search engines from indexing this website, because this is just a dummy website. I don't want anybody finding this in Google, because it's not a real company. Once you've done that, press Install WordPress. And it's a success. So it's asking us to log in with our username and password. So press login. And there we go. I'm not sure if this is the correct password, so I'm going to paste in the password that I copied and click Remember Me and log in. And there we go. So that's the WordPress dashboard. That means that WordPress has been successfully installed. There's still a long way to go, but that's a great first step. So thanks for joining me in setting up WordPress, and I will see you in the next lesson. Hi, welcome back to the course. Now we've got WordPress set up, we can begin working on our new website. But before we can get to the fun, flashy stuff, first we need to build a solid foundation for the website. Before we even install Divi, first we're going to take care of a few things that will make our lives easier in the long run. Here's what we'll do. We'll make sure the site title and site description are accurate. We'll update the permalinks, and we'll delete the existing sample page and sample post. Okay, let's get started. So if you installed WordPress correctly, this is roughly what you should see in front of you. A blank canvas with endless possibilities. The first thing that we're going to do is to update the website title and site description. To do so, come over to the left-hand menu, hover over Appearance, and select Customize. Now select Site Identity. Okay, so the site title is correct, but the tagline needs to be updated. Otherwise, Google might index that tagline and it will show up in Google and it doesn't look very professional. So I'm going to change it to Low Cost Web Design in New York City. Short and snappy and to the point. If you're happy with that, press the Publish button and then close the customizer by pressing the cross. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to update the website's permalinks. To do that, hover over Settings in the left-hand menu and select Permalinks. Okay, my default permalink says date and name, so you can see that it's putting in the date of the post, followed by the post name, which is a little bit messy. I prefer the cleaner option, which is just to select post name. So then it comes up as Blue Fox / whatever the post name is. I'm happy with that, so I'll scroll down and select Save Changes. Okay, now the last thing that we're going to do is to delete the default post and the default page that WordPress adds in automatically. So we'll start with the default post, so hover over posts and select all posts. There you can see the default Hello World post. We don't need that, so hover over it and select trash. And let's do the same for pages. You can just click on pages to go there, and there we see the sample page that we don't need, so hover over that and select trash. We are going to use the privacy policy later, so you can leave that where it is. If you're fairly new to WordPress, it's worth pointing out that even if you delete a page, you could still go and retrieve it by going into the trash and pressing restore. We don't need it though, so I'm just going to hit delete permanently. Okay, so that's our initial housekeeping over with. Join me in the next lesson where we'll install Divi and really get started. See you soon. Okay, welcome back. Let's get going. Here's what we'll accomplish in this lesson. We will install and activate the Divi theme, add the pages we'll need in WordPress, specify which page to use as the home page, and we'll set up the navigation menu. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is to download and install Divi. To do so, go to elegantthemes.com. If you don't yet have an account, you would click this pink button up in the top right that says Join to download. I already have an account, so I'm going to select Login. Enter your username and password and press the button. And scroll down to the pink download button under Divi. Save it to your computer. That's downloaded, so come back to the website that we're making, hover over Appearance and select Themes. Now press the Add New button and upload theme. Choose File and browse to wherever you downloaded it. Press Open and then Install Now. Okay, once Divi has been installed, select Activate to activate the theme. And there it is. Our active theme is now Divi. Okay, so just to make sure that Divi has been installed, come up to where it says the name of the website in the top left and just click on that. That will take us to our home page. And there you can see that Divi has been successfully installed. It's not much to look at yet, but it's a good start. Okay, so select the little W icon in the top left hand corner of the screen. That will take us back to the WordPress dashboard. And the next thing that we're going to do is to add the pages that we'll need for our website. This is going to be a 5-page website. We're going to have the home page, the About Us page, a portfolio page, a blog page, and a Contact Us page. So let's go about adding those now. To add a new page, hover over the left hand menu where it says Pages and select Add New. Okay, so the first page we're going to add is the home page. So just select the Add Title box, call it Home, and we're just going to leave everything else the same. All these settings can stay as they are for now. We'll come back later and obviously start adding content to these pages, but for now just hit the blue Publish button. That's that page published. So just select Add New to add another page. Call this one About Us and publish. Add another page. Call this one Portfolio and publish. And add new. Call this one Blog and publish. And our final page, which will be our contact page, we will call Contact Us and hit publish. Okay, so that's our 5 pages set up. The next thing we need to do is to tell WordPress which of those pages we want to use for our home page. To do so, we're going to go back into the customizer, which you can access by hovering over Appearance and then selecting Customize. And scroll down a bit in the menu and select Homepage Settings. So at the moment our homepage displays our latest posts. That's not what we want. We want to change it to a static page. and we're going to say the home page is unsurprisingly the home page. For post page, just leave that for now. We will deal with that at a later date. So I'm happy with that. So press the blue publish button. But don't leave the customizer just yet. We've got one more thing that we need to do inside the customizer. So I need you to scroll up a little and select this back arrow here to go up a level. And the next thing that we need to do inside the customizer is to create our menus. You can see that there is a navigation menu here, but it's in the wrong order. There's an uncategorized category in there. It's not what we want. So come over to the left-hand menu and select menus. Now the first thing that we need to do is select create new menu, and we'll give our menu a name. I usually just call it main nav, and say that we want to use that in the primary menu position, which is this top menu up here. So select the next button. Now we're being invited to add links to the menu. So this section here, you can scroll up and down and select your pages that you want to add. So I'm going to add the home page, and you can see it's been put over here on the left hand side. I'm going to add the contact page and the blog page, the portfolio page, the about us page, and I believe that's it, but they're in the wrong order, so you can just click and drag to reposition. So I'm going to go home page, about us, then portfolio, blog, and finally contact us. So I am happy with that order. So I'm going to select the publish button, and you can already see one of the best things about the customizer is that it gives you a preview of your changes as you make them. So you can see over here we've got home, about us, portfolio, blog, and contact us. That's the order that we specified. So I am happy with our nav menu. So there's still obviously a lot of work to be done on our header and the rest of our website, but that's a good start. So we're going to leave it there for this lesson and pick it up in the next lesson. See you then. Your homework for this lesson is to become familiar with the WordPress customizer. We will be using the customizer quite a lot throughout this course. Some of the options are specific to Divi, whereas some of them are generic WordPress options. The customizer is perhaps the main area in which you will tweak the design of your website. It has everything from typography to colors to header options. Remember, this homework is optional, but if you really want to get a deeper understanding of Divi and of WordPress, take a few minutes to play around with the customizer options. If you make any changes though, remember not to save them. Instead, press the X icon to close the customizer. Okay, welcome back. So here's the plan for this lesson. We're going to upload our logo, we're going to add our website's favicon, and we're going to select our Divi color palette. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is to upload the logo we want to use for the website. So if you haven't already, close the customizer by selecting the blue cross in the top left hand corner of your screen. And the logo upload can be found within the Divi theme options, which you can get to by hovering over Divi in the left hand menu and selecting theme options. Okay, so the logo upload is the first thing you see here on the general tab. There are a lot of options in the Divi theme options, and we'll get to some of them at a later date, but for now we're going to select our logo by pressing upload. So the logo we're going to use can be found within the course files that you should have saved to your computer. So select files, and I've saved mine on my desktop. So I'm going to come there and then into course files, section 2, and select the Blue Fox logo. Select open. That will upload to WordPress, and everything seems okay, so we're just going to say set as logo, and simple as that, our logo has been set. Now just a word of warning about logos and Divi. It tends to work best if your logo is a landscape logo rather than a portrait logo. If your logo is too tall, then Divi will squish it right down to make it fit into the header, and you won't be able to make out any of the detail on it. So the best thing to do is to go for a landscape logo when you're using Divi. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is to update our color palette. This will save us loads of time in the long run. So whenever you change the colors on Divi elements, whether that's text or backgrounds or borders or pretty much anything that can have a color, Divi will present us with various colors to choose from. If we pre-select our colors, it will save us from having to manually enter the color every time. So the main color that we're going to use is the color that's found in the logo. It's a kind of dark blue color. So I can get the exact color code from Photoshop, which happens to be 1D469F. So I'm going to copy that, come back to WordPress. So I'm going to keep black, I'm going to keep white, but we don't really need this red color. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to paste in the color code for the blue color, and you can see there Divi's accepted that. So the next one, we're only going to do 2 custom colors because there's not a lot of color variation in this website. But the next one, we don't need this orange. We're going to go for what could be some of our text color, our font color, which I'm going to say is 333333, which is this kind of very dark grey color, so not pure black. So it's quite a nice color for the text. So I'm happy with that. There's nothing else we need to do in the Divi theme options for now. We've uploaded our logo, we've selected some extra colors, so I'm going to come down right to the bottom and select Save Changes. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to upload our website's favicon, or favicon as some people say. The favicon is a little icon that appears in tabs and in bookmarks and things like that. So I should explain that at the moment you can see a favicon for this website. We haven't uploaded one yet, but it's being cached from a previous version of the website. If you're following along at home, you won't see a favicon at the moment. So what we're going to do is come to Appearance, and we're going to go back into the Customizer. And you will find favicon under General Settings and then Site Identity. So site icon, that's what it is, and it wants one that's 512 by 512 pixels. So I have one of those in the course files. So if you select Upload Files and Select Files, and it's just listed as favicon.png. If you select Open, that's giving us an HTTP error. So let's try that again. Okay, that's the favicon uploaded. So just press Select and publish those changes, and we will close the customizer. So on your website you should now see a little icon appear next to the name of the page that you're on in your browser. So let's go and see our logo in action. So to get to the home page, just select Blue Fox Web Design in the toolbar there, and there you can see our logo that we uploaded, and our navigation menu sitting alongside it. So the header is beginning to take shape. Join me in the next lesson and we will be starting designing our homepage. See you soon. Hello and welcome back. In this lesson we will take a look at how sections, rows and modules work within Divi, introduce the visual builder, and we will begin our hero section. If you're not already there, come to the home page of our website. The first section we're going to create is the hero section. A hero section is a big bold area at the very top of your home page. It's the first thing a user sees when they visit your website, and it's used to tell them at a glance what the website is about. They often have a call to action button on them, directing the user to where you want them to go. The first thing we need to do is enable the visual builder. The visual builder is where we'll be spending a lot of our time. It's an incredible feature of Divi as it allows us to make changes to our website in real time, meaning we see the results of our changes instantly. It's a very fast and efficient way to build a website. So go ahead and select the Enable Visual Builder button at the top of the page in the toolbar. And select Build from Scratch. Now just a quick word on the structure of Divi pages. Sections are the biggest building block in the Divi Builder. You can think of them as horizontal stacking blocks that can group your content into visually distinguishable areas. In Divi, everything you build starts with a section. Rows are the various column layouts that can be placed inside of sections. A row could be one single column, or they could be split into 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns, or even more complex layouts. Modules go inside rows and are the actual content blocks of your website. There are lots of modules in Divi, including basic text, tabs, accordions, sliders, pricing tables, and much more. Don't worry if you don't fully understand this structure yet. We're going to be using plenty of sections, rows, and modules throughout the course. Okay, let's get back to our homepage. And you can see that Divi has automatically inserted a section for us, just trying to be helpful. But we don't actually want this type of section, which is a normal section. We want a full width section. So select this blue plus icon here to insert a new section and select full width. And what we want is a full width header section. That will form the basis of our hero section. So select full width header. And bang, just like that, a bunch of content has been added to our page and it's given it this blue background. You can see that the full width header settings have automatically come up. We will deal with that in a minute, but for now just close that by selecting the Discard All Changes button. So you can see that there's still this section up at the top of the page. We don't want that there, so let's delete that. So come over to the little toolbar over here and select the trash icon to delete that section. And that will mean that our full width header section now is up against our header, which is where we want it. Now let's start editing the contents of our header section. So to do that, we come into the module settings, which you get to by hovering over this grey bar and selecting the cog icon for module settings. So the settings for almost all Divi elements, whether that's sections, rows, or modules, they all look very similar. They pop up in this window here. You can drag this window around to wherever is convenient for you. The window is split into 3 tabs. Content, which is generally where you will place your text and your images. Design, where you'll have all your design options, including colors, borders, and typography. And then the Advanced tab, where you can edit the CSS and other more advanced features. So select the Content tab, and you can see here the very first box says your title goes here. That's where we're going to put the title that we want. I'm going to go for Low Cost Web Design from New York City. You can see Divi has already put in some dummy text for the paragraph text, which is under Content here. I'm just going to leave the dummy text as it is. We don't have the time to start writing real copy for this website. But what we do want to do is to edit this button. At the moment it just says click here. I would like it to be a bit more specific, and I would like that to be a link to our portfolio, because when people visit this Blue Fox Web Design website, I want them to then proceed to the portfolio to take a look at some of the work that we've done. So the text for the button is found right here in the Content tab. So just delete click here, and we're going to add View Our Portfolio. And you can see as I type it, it's updated live over on the website. So that's good, but we also need to change where it links to. So to get to that, first we'll close the text accordion there, and we'll come down to link. And this first one says button number 1 link URL. That's what we're looking for. So we're going to link to the portfolio page, which just happens to be /portfolio. So we're going to add that to the button 1 link, which is a relative link, /portfolio/. And yep, that looks good. Okay, let's accept those changes by pressing the green tick icon down here. And let's save our page. I'll show you two ways of doing that. One is to select this green save button in the bottom right hand corner. If you can't see it, you might have to press these three little dots down there and then select the save icon. But I find the much faster method for saving the page is just by pressing Command or Control S, the same way that you would do with a Microsoft Word document. Just Command or Control S and it will save it for you. Okay, I'll show you something else about the Visual Builder. Is if we wanted to change the text, all you have to do is to click onto the text. You don't even have to bother going into the settings, and you can start editing it right there. And you can do that for almost all the text within Divi, including this paragraph here. We could highlight it and make some of it bold or underlined. So that's quite a powerful feature for being able to quickly change text. Right, so let's save our page again. And we will exit the Visual Builder. Okay, that's a good start to our hero section. Obviously we've got a lot more customization to do, but we'll leave that there for now and pick it up in the next lesson. See you soon. Hello and welcome back. In this lesson we will use the customizer to select typography for our website, and we will create a new page so we can preview our typography selections. Okay, let's take a look at the typography, which is one of the most important aspects of a website. Poor typography choices can make your website difficult to read, and if a website's difficult to read, the user might just go elsewhere. So I want to share with you a little trick that I use when selecting the fonts for my websites. There's a website that I use, which is here. It's www.simongriffey.com/typography, which basically just includes a sample text that you can use on your website to check how your fonts are looking. So what I will do, I will highlight this and copy it right down to the bottom, copy that onto your clipboard, come back to your website, and we're going to add a new page. And we'll just call this page typography test, and we're going to use the default editor. So into the body copy here, just paste the text that we copied, paste it in there, and yeah, that all looks fine. I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to select this image and I'm going to align it to the left. The rest of the text will wrap around it. So when you're happy with that, just click Publish. This is just a temporary page, by the way. We'll delete this after we're finished with it. Now select the View Page link to go to that page. And you can see there the text that we pasted. So it's not bad. These are the Divi default fonts, but I think we can do better. We can give it a bit more character, make it a bit easier to read. So what we're going to do that through the customizer, and we can activate the customizer by hovering over the name of the website and then selecting Theme Customizer, and then select General Settings, then Typography. And the advantage of doing this is that when we make changes to the typography, it will be instantly updated over here and we can tweak it as necessary. Divi uses the Google Font Library, which is a library of hundreds of free fonts that you can use on your website. Some are very good and some are not quite so good. If you want ideas for fonts that you can use on your website, just try searching Google font pairings and you'll get lots of suggestions for different fonts that look good together. They're all available on Google Fonts. So give that a go, scroll through and see which one might fit your website. For this website, I've got a few in mind. For the header font, I quite like a font called Josephine Sans. So I will scroll down until I get to J. Like I said, there's hundreds and hundreds of fonts. So there's Josephine Sans. I'm going to select that. And for the body copy, I'm going to go for Droid Sans, which will be under D. Okay, there it is. And we can see our changes instantly take effect on the website here. So there's Josephine Sans for the headings, and the paragraph text is Droid Sans. So that's looking pretty good, but I think what I want to do, I like my body copy a little bigger. So if you scroll up and select body text size, I'm going to increase that. And a little tip that whenever you click into one of these boxes here, you can increase the value by 1 by pressing the up arrow. So I'm going to press the up arrow a couple of times up to 17 pixels. That looks good. I also want to increase the heading size a little bit because that's looking a bit small now. Okay, so we're going to do the same again. Just click into the header text size box and increase by 1 each time until you're happy with it. I think I'll go for 39 nice big headers, and I'm happy with the body copy as well. So if you're happy with that, just select the blue publish button. Just to make sure, we will close the customizer. And there's our page. I think that's looking quite good. I think it's an improvement on what we already had. So if you're happy with that, then we will leave that there for this lesson. Join me in the next lesson and we will continue with our hero section. See you soon. Hi, welcome back. So here's what we'll tackle in this lesson. We will take a look at the background options for our hero section, and we will download a pattern to use as the background. Okay, so in the last lesson we were working with the typography test page. That served its purpose, so to keep everything neat, let's delete that now. The quickest way to do that is to go to Edit Page, then under Status and Visibility, select Move to Trash. And it's gone. Okay, now come back to our home page. So we can see that our typography changes from the last lesson have taken effect on the hero section. Our heading and our body font are now as we want them. So the next thing that we're going to move on to is choosing a background for the hero section. So select Enable Visual Builder and we'll take a look at our background options. Okay, so hover over the module here and select Module Settings. So the background options can be found on the Content tab. So select Background and you'll see there are 4 options here. The first option, which is what it's on at the moment, is a solid color. So if you click on the color, you can see that you can change it to whatever color you want. So for example, we could go for a kind of bluish color, but that's not what I want in this instance. The next tab is a background gradient. So that's 2 colors, one color blending into the other color. So that's quite a nice gradient that we have at the moment, a darker blue leading into a turquoise blue. If you scroll down, you can see you can select the 2 colors. So that looks awful, but we're just playing around here. So for example, I could go for a kind of red color, and this is what's called a linear gradient. meaning it runs in one direction. But we could also change the type of gradient to a radial gradient, which means it kind of emanates out from the center. We could change the start position, the end position. So you can get all sorts of cool effects with gradient, but that's not what we're going to do for this website. So hover over the gradient box and just select the trash icon to get rid of that. That'll go back to our solid color. The last tab here is if we wanted a background video, but that's not what we're going to do either. For this website, we're going to have a background pattern. So in order to do that, we need to have a pattern. So a website that I've used quite frequently in the past, it's called Subtle Patterns. The best way to find that is just to Google Subtle Patterns, and it's the first result up at the top here. The URL is toptal.com/designers/subtle patterns. There are literally hundreds of patterns you can choose from on this website. They also have a great Photoshop plugin that I use, so any Photoshop users out there, definitely look into that one. So if we scroll down a bit, these aren't quite what I'm looking for, but when we get to this dark paths pattern, I noticed that it will work quite well with our color theme on our website. So if you select it, select preview, you'll be able to see what it looks like when it's tiled. So that looks good to me. Ordinarily I'd press the download button and save that to my desktop, but I've already saved it. It's in your course files. So if we come back to our website and come to the third tab in the background options, and we're adding a background image. So upload a file, select files, and select your desktop, or sorry, wherever you've saved your course files. Mine's on my desktop, and go for section 2, and the file is called Dark Paths. Select that and scroll down, make sure it's full size, and upload that image. Okay, so you can see that that's taken effect, but that's not quite what we want, because the background image is set to cover. What we want is the actual size of it. So now you see it's just a little square in the center, but that's because it's not repeating. So if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see the background image repeat option here. If you select repeat, then you'll see it tiles all the way horizontally and all the way vertically, and that is what we want. So go ahead and accept those changes. Just a little note about subtle patterns. They are free to use, but the authors request that you credit them in either your HTML or CSS. So I'll show you quickly how you would do that. If you come to the FAQ, they give an example for how you would credit them in the CSS. CSS example is here, so I will copy that, come back to the website, and I will save those changes by pressing Command or Control S, and come up to your theme customizer, and scroll down to additional CSS, scroll down a bit, and just paste in the little line of CSS that we took from the Subtle Patterns website. It's always good to credit authors when we can, and it makes sure we're just doing everything by the book. So let's press the Publish button and close the customizer. Okay, our homepage is starting to take shape. The hero section is looking okay now. I'm not quite satisfied with it, so join me in the next lesson and we will put the finishing touches to our hero section. I'll see you in the next lesson. Okay, your homework for this lesson is to become more acquainted with the background options that Divi has to offer. As I said in the lesson, there are 4 background options to choose from: solid colors, gradients, background images, and video backgrounds. Play around with each one, seeing what kind of effects you can come up with. Change the settings and see what effect that has on the background. Remember, don't save any of your changes, or if you prefer, add a new page in WordPress and play around there. Here's an alternative hero section I made for Blue Fox Web Design. I got the background image from unsplash.com. See if you can recreate it yourself. Okay, welcome back. Here's the plan for this lesson. We will source a picture we can use for our website, and we will make the final tweaks to our hero section. Okay, so let's take another look at our hero section. At the moment, I don't think it's quite good enough. We have these big long lines of text that I don't like. I think what I would prefer is if we split this into two columns. So on the left hand column we would have our text and our button, and on the right hand column we would have some kind of image relating to web design. So that's the look that I'm going to go for. So before we can start that, first we need to source our image. So I want to introduce you to a website that I use whenever I'm looking for an icon. It's called flaticon.com. You can see that they have over 1.4 million icons, and a lot of them are very high quality. I should point out that this is a subscription model. You can use the icons for free, but if you do that, then you have to credit flaticon.com. Otherwise, you can take out a subscription which costs about $10 per month, and you can use them without giving credit. So I am going to search for monitor, because I think a computer monitor would fit quite well. So I know the icon I'm looking for. It's on page 2. You can see that there's loads to choose from, but the one I want is over here in the bottom left, this one that has the monitor and the phone, which I think works quite well with the idea of a web design company. So to get that, I would click on it and I would select PNG, and then a little size selector will come up. I want to download it as big as possible, which is 512 pixels. To complete your download, you would press this green free download button, and it's reminding you that you have to credit the author. I actually have that file within the course files, and you will too if you downloaded the course files. So come back to the website and enable the visual builder if it isn't already active. And come into the module settings for our hero section. So what we're looking for, it's in the content tab, it's under images. So we can add a logo image. That's not what we want though. We want our header image. So select the plus icon to add a header image and upload it from your course files. It's just called screens.png. Make sure it's being displayed at full size and select upload image. Okay, let's accept that and just take a look. So obviously there's quite a big problem here. It is huge. It has stretched our hero section and it makes it a lot unbalanced. The image is huge and the text looks tiny by comparison. So what we want to do is reduce the size of the header image. Unfortunately, Divi doesn't have a setting for that, so we'll have to do that using a bit of CSS, which you can get to coming to the Advanced tab and then Custom CSS, and then scroll down. The CSS that we want to edit is here, header image. So I'm going to type width colon 60% semicolon. So that's making the header image 60% of its normal width. So that looks a lot better to me. So I'm going to accept those changes. Now though, I think our text, our heading text is looking a bit small. So come back into the module settings again and I'll show you a shortcut for being able to find the design settings for a particular element. If you hover over the different elements, you can see that little paintbrushes appear next to them. So there's one for the heading here, there's one for the paragraph, and there's one for the button. Select the one next to the heading, and you'll see on our options panel here, it goes straight to the design options for our title text. And what we're trying to do is put the title text up a few sizes. So let's use the up arrow on our keyboard to increase the size up to 40. Keep going. I think I want it on 2 lines, not 3 lines. So there it goes on to 3 lines at 52. So I'll take it back down to 51 so it's still on the 2 lines. Okay, I'm going to move the options panel a little bit to have a look. And one thing I'm noticing is that I think this section's a little bit cramped. In web design, it's very important that your elements have a lot of breathing space. It's easier on the eye and just more pleasurable for the visitor to look at if things have space around them. So what we need to do is we need to add some padding to our hero section. Padding at the top and padding at the bottom. So I'll show you where to find that. If you come to the Design tab and then scroll down a bit, you will find Spacing. Okay, put your cursor into the top padding box, and if you hold down the Shift key and press the up arrow on your keyboard, then this value will increase in increments of 10, as opposed to just pushing the up arrow and it will increase in increments of 1. So hold the Shift key down, and we'll do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Let's go for about 70 pixels at the top, and we'll do the same for bottom. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 I think looks pretty good if we just move that a little bit. Yeah, I think that's looking better now. Everything's got a bit more space. So accept those changes and let's take a look. I think that's looking quite well balanced. We have this left hand column, the right hand column. We've got our padding at the top and padding at the bottom. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So if you're happy with that, press Command or Control S to save your work. And in the next lesson, we're going to take a look at our header and see if we can make some improvements there. I'll see you soon. Hello and welcome to Lesson 9. Here's the plan. We will increase the size of our logo, increase the font size of our menu, and we will remove the search icon from the header. Okay, let's get started. So I want to make some changes to our header. First of all, I want our logo to be bigger. At the moment it's a little too small. And I also want to make some changes to our navigation menu. I think the font size is a little small and I would like it to stand out a little more. So we're going to accomplish all of those things through the Theme Customizer. So hover over the name of the website and select Theme Customizer. And come into Header and Navigation. And then we're coming in to Primary Menu Bar. Okay, so in order to make our logo bigger, we're going to increase the height of the menu. So let's take it up to about 83. That looks quite good there. Now I want to increase the font size for our menu links. So we can do that in this text size box. Just press your up arrow to increase by 1 each time. And I want it nice and big, so I'm going to go for 18. Now I think I want the font color to be a little darker. So scroll down a little bit until you get to text color. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to select pure black, and then I'm going to play around with the opacity slider. So put the opacity slider right down until we get something that's pretty dark like that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, so the last thing I want to do in the customizer is change this active link color. At the moment you can see it's quite a pale blue. We want to change it to our theme color, this darker blue. Now we don't have access to our color palette here, so we'll have to do it manually. I've got it in my clipboard, I'm just going to paste it in, but if you're typing it in manually, it's #1D469F. So type that in and you will see that the home link has changed to our dark blue color. Okay, there's one more thing that we want to do in our customizer, which is to get rid of this search icon. This isn't a very big website, so we don't really need a search facility. So to get to that, come back and select header element and uncheck the box where it says show search icon. And voila, it's gone. Okay, that's us finished with our customizer, so hit publish there and close the customizer. And now back on our home page, we can see that our logo is now bigger, our menu links are bolder, and our header just generally looks better. So I'm going to leave it there for this lesson. Join me in the next lesson and we will continue with the rest of our homepage. And don't forget to save your page. See you soon. Hi and welcome back. Here's the plan for this lesson. We will add a new section split into 4 columns. We will introduce the blurb module and we will add appropriate icons to our blurbs. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do on our homepage is add a new section split into 4 columns, and each of the columns will represent a selling point for Blue Fox Web Design. So let's go ahead and insert a new section by selecting this purple Add New Section button and select a regular section. So before we add our 4 columns, we're going to add a title. So what we're going to choose is this one big long column, which is the first one on the list here. And we're going to add a text module. So search for text and select the text module. Okay, I'm going to delete the dummy text that Divi automatically puts in the text module. And I'm going to say professional web design at affordable prices. And I'm going to make that an H1. There we go. And I'm going to add a new line and I'm going to add a subheading and I'm going to say we work hard to ensure you are satisfied with your new website. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight all of that and I'm going to align it to the center. Okay, and what I want to do, I want to increase the font size of my H1. So the quickest way to do that is to hover over on the page here and select the paintbrush icon, and that'll take us straight into the design settings for the H1. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and at the moment it's on 39 pixels. I'm going to put my cursor inside the box here and use the up and down arrows on my keyboard. So I'm going to press the up arrow until we get to about 42 pixels. Looks quite good to me. I'm going to save those changes and take a look. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. One little thing that I want to do is I want to change the color of 2 of the words on the header here, just to make the words stand out a bit more and add a bit of visual flair to the title. So I'm going to make the words professional and affordable our dark blue theme color. So let's do that now. Highlight the word professional and select the text color paint bucket icon and select the 3rd color along that we added to our color palette, and you'll see that it's changed color. Close the dialog box by selecting the cross and highlight the word affordable and select the paint bucket again and select the dark blue color. That hasn't worked, and that's a problem I've faced before. A way to get around that is to just manually drag the color picker a little bit and then go back and choose the theme color again, and that should work that time. So yeah, let's take a look. That's good, but let's add one more little tweak, which is to make these 2 words bold. So highlight professional and select the B icon, highlight affordable and select the B icon, and there we go. Okay, let's continue with our 4-column section. So what we need to do is to insert a new row. So you do that by selecting this Add New Row button. It's a kind of turquoise greenish color. And Divi will ask us what the column structure should be. And we're going to select a 4-column structure, which is on this left-hand side, second down. So select 4 columns, and just like that, Divi will add 4 new columns. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to insert the module on the far left-hand side. I'm going to get that to a point that I'm happy with it, and then I'm going to duplicate it into column 2, 3, and 4. I find this to be a faster way of working. So let's go ahead and add a blurb module. So the blurb module generally contains an icon or an image at the top, a title, and some paragraph text, which is perfect for fitting inside columns. Okay, so like I said, we're going to use these 4 columns to display some of the main selling points of Blue Fox Web Design, and we're going to start with affordable. So for the title, write affordable. And we're going to center align all of our text. So sometimes the fastest way to find a design setting is just to search the options. So I'm going to search for align, and there we go. We find text orientation and put that to align to the center. Now I notice that our heading looks a bit small to me, so I'm going to increase the size of our heading by hovering over it, selecting the paintbrush icon, and to take us into the title text design settings. Scroll down until we get title text size. Put your cursor inside the title text size box, and we're going to go up until we get to maybe about 26. I'm happy with that. Now you'll notice that Divi has automatically placed a dummy image in our blurb. That's not what I want though. I want to use an icon instead of an image. So let's go and change that now. And we do that over on the Content tab and select Image and Icon. And there's a little sliding select box that says Use Icon. Change that to Yes. Now the icon should represent the column that it's in. So since this is affordable, I know that there's an icon of a wallet. So let's go ahead and select that. So scroll down on the list of icons, and I think it's just before halfway. Yeah, here it is, the wallet icon. So select that and you'll see that it's placed the icon in our blurb. So let's go ahead and change the color and the size of the icon, and the fastest way to do that is to hover over the icon and select the paintbrush icon. So let's make our icon color our dark blue theme color. Select that, and I want to make it a little smaller, so I'm going to select Use Icon Font Size, and we're going to take the font size down. It starts off at 96, which is a bit big. I'm going to take it right down to about 72. Looks like a good size to me. Okay, let's go ahead and save those changes. One last thing I want to do to the module. I think there's a little bit too much text in there, so I'm going to take out some of this text up to about where it says every aspect of this content in the module, and I think that looks a bit neater now. So one of the most powerful parts of Divi is the ability to quickly and easily duplicate content, and that's what I'm going to do here. So one way of duplicating content is to hover over the module and select this duplicate module button or icon, and then you can move the module to where you want it, so it'll be side by side. I'm going to Control Z or Command Z to undo that, and I'll show you a different way that I prefer to duplicate modules, which is to hover over the module settings, hold down the Alt key on my keyboard and drag it over into the next column, and you'll see this grey bar has appeared, meaning that I can drop it into there. So I'm going to let go of the mouse and it should get dropped into there, and I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to press the Alt key, drag it over to the third column and let go, and again Alt key, drag it over and let it go, and now we have 4 identical modules. So what we need to do now is to edit columns 2, 3 and 4. So let's start with our titles. The fastest way to edit the titles is just right here on the page. Double click on column 2's title, and we're going to change this one to modern, and for column 3 we're going to say communication, and for column 4 we will go for web hosting. So just 4 of the things that Blue Fox Web Design is particularly proud of and is using to entice new customers. So the next thing that we need to do is to update our icons, because at the moment they're all the same. So come into the module settings for icon number 2 and close the text accordion, select image and icon. So there's no icon that exactly fits the theme of modern, so we're going to have to be a little abstract, but that's fine. So I think what we're going to go for is just a computer monitor, which you can find over on the right hand side, just a little bit down. So select the computer monitor, and that's fine. Save those changes. Let's move on to our third column. And for this one, I think we will go for an envelope. So close the text, open images and icon. And the envelope is over on the left hand side somewhere. There it is, next to the camera. So select that, save those changes. Let's move on to our fourth column. Come into the module settings, close text, open image and icon. And for this one, I know there's a hard drive icon somewhere near the wallet icon. So there's the wallet and there's the hard drive just above it. If we select that, and that's a good fit for web hosting. Save those changes. Okay, our columns are looking good. I think the next thing that I want to do is to change the background color of our section to a very light gray color, which will mean that we can then transition into a white section next. So hover over our section and select the section settings button and select background. Click on the add background color icon, and in the little color picker box type hash F9 F9 F9, which is a very light gray color, and save those changes. Okay, the last thing that I want to do is just to add a bit of breathing space to our elements. So I think the icons are a little too close to the footer at the bottom. So it's the padding at the bottom is on 51 pixels. I'm going to drag that up until it's about 70 pixels, a bit more space. And I'm going to do the same at the top. We'll go for about 70 again. And I think our heading is a little too close to our blurb row. So what I'm going to do, you could either apply padding to the top of the blurb row or to the bottom of the title row. So that's what we'll do. We'll add it to the bottom of the title, and I think I'll go for about 50 pixels. I'm just going to scroll back up the page and have a look at our new section, make sure everything is in order, and I think it is. I think it's looking quite nice actually. So I'm going to leave it there. Join me in the next lesson and we will continue with our homepage. I'll see you soon.
For your homework, play around with the blurb module. Go through the settings and see what kind of different styles you can come up with. Try a variety of borders, shadows, text sizes, and background colors. The blurb module is perfect for laying out content in columns in an attractive way.
Hello and welcome back. Here's the plan for this lesson. We will add a new section split into 2 columns. And we will insert text in the left-hand column and an image in the right-hand column. Okay, so let's begin our Meet the Team section. So start by inserting a new section, and we're going to go for a regular section, and we're going to select the 2-column layout, which is the second one along here. And there we go. And Divi always invites us to add a new module. So I'm going to insert a text module on the left hand side. Sometimes it's quicker just to search for it, text, and then hit the return key and it inserts the text module. Okay, so I want to add a heading to the content here. The heading is just going to be Meet the Team, and we're going to make that an H1. Okay, and I want a bit more text than this, so I'm going to copy the last part
of this dummy text, put a new line in and paste it in there. Now let's increase the font size of our heading here. So the fastest way to do that is to select the paintbrush and come down a little bit. Under heading text size, let's increase to about 51. Looks pretty good, nice and bold. And while we're here, let's change the color of it to our theme color, the dark blue. There we go. Okay, I'm pretty happy with how that looks. Now, beneath this text, I want a button that will link to the About Us page. So to do that, just insert a new module. Remember, columns can have as many modules as you want stacked on top of each other. So we have the text module, and now I'm inserting a new module, which is a button. It's this one here. And it's saying click here, so I'm going to change that to learn more about us. And we have to update the link. So it's going to go to the About Us page, which is /about-us. And that looks fine. Now, just to keep everything nice and uniform, I'm going to change the color of the button to our dark blue theme color. And we do that by going to the Design tab, selecting Button, selecting Use Custom Styles for Button, and for the button text color, select our theme color, the dark blue. Okay, accept those changes and let's take a look. I'm pretty happy with that left-hand column there. It's nice and neat. Nothing fancy, but sometimes you don't want to overthink these things. Okay, in the right-hand column, we're going to add an image. So go ahead and select the Add New module in the right-hand column and search for image, which is this one. So Divi is inviting us to upload an image. So click on the image, go to Upload Files, and browse to your course files, which for me is on my desktop, Course Files, Section 2, and it's under the team. So open that. As always, make sure it's on full size and select Upload Image. Okay, let's accept those changes and we'll take a look. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It fits quite well with the text on the left-hand side. I got this image from a website called pixabay.com, which is a website that has loads of free stock photography that you can use. You don't even have to credit the author when you use it. So check out pixabay.com for free stock images. Okay, let's just add a little bit of style onto this image. I think we'll give it a shadow. So select the module settings on the image, come to the Design tab, scroll down to where it says Box Shadow, and there you can see the different types of shadow that we can apply to the image. Okay, the one that I want is this one in the bottom row on the left hand side, which is almost like a solid shadow that you see. It's quite a modern take on the box shadow. Okay, but I think that's a little bit dark. So if we come down to the shadow color, I want to adjust the opacity on it. So click the color dropper here and reduce the opacity, and as you do, the shadow will become lighter. So that looks pretty good to me, a subtle shadow, and just save those changes. So the shadow's not absolutely necessary, but it's just an extra touch, a little bit of visual flair on the image. So yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. So as with our other sections, I think the next thing we will do is add some padding. There's not enough space up at the top and not enough space at the bottom. So hover over the top of the section until you get the little handle. Currently there's 51 pixels of padding. Just click and drag it down. And we go for about 90. And let's do the bottom now. It's on 51. Let's take it down to about 90 again. So there's no hard and fast rules for spacing and for padding, sometimes you just have to eyeball it and just kind of get a sense whether there's enough space. I think that's looking pretty good. We can always adjust it at a later date if we feel that we need more spacing. But I'm happy with that section for now. If you're happy, press Command or Control S to save your work, and I will see you in the next lesson. Hello and welcome back. Here's what we'll accomplish in this lesson. We will add a new section with a colored background, and we will add a number counter module. Okay, so our home page is starting to take shape. I think it's looking pretty good. At the moment we have this grey background, then we transition into a white background. So I think next it would be good to have a colored background. So let's go ahead and insert a new section and select regular, and we're going to start the section with just one column. We're going to put in a header for our section, so just select one column and enter text, select that. Okay, just accept those changes for now. So the first thing that we're going to do is change the background color for our section. So hover over the section, and I'll show you a little tip here to get into the module settings. You don't necessarily have to select the cog icon. What you can do is you can just double click anywhere on the section, unless it's over text. So where you see this little four-way cursor, just double click and it'll take you into the section settings. And what we're looking for is background. So open that, and we're adding a background color, and we're just going to choose our theme color, our dark blue color, which is third along on the color palette. Select that and accept those changes. So looking at it now, there's one immediate problem. The contrast between the dark gray text and the blue background is not good enough. It makes it illegible. So let's fix that, and we will do that in the module settings. So bring up the module settings. First we'll add our header to the content area. I'm going to call this Blue Fox in Numbers, and then 3 periods, and we'll change that to an H1. There we go, and let's center align that as well. Okay, so we need to change the color from this dark color to a light color. So the easiest way to get to the design settings is to hover over the header on the web page and select the paintbrush icon, and there we go. So if you scroll down, you'll see heading text color. Select white, which is FFF, and while we're here, let's increase the font size as well. Let's get it nice and big, so keep going up, and maybe 62. That's nice and bold and unmissable. So I'm happy with that. So let's accept those changes. Okay, so we need to insert a new row because we need our 4 columns for our number counters. 1 number counter in each column. So to insert a new row, hover over the existing row and select the green Add New Row button, and we're selecting 4 columns. And in the first column we're going to add a number counter. So you can see bar counter, circle counter, but what we're going for is number counter. So select that. And there you go, it's already animating. Let's tweak the design a little bit. As you'll see, the text is a little dark there for the title. So come to the Design tab, select Text, and you can see that there's text color is dark. Let's change that to light, and the title text changes to white. Now let's change the color of the actual number. So the quickest way to do that is just to select the paintbrush and scroll down until we get the number text color. So I think I want to go for a slightly different shade of blue for this one. So let's select the theme color, the dark blue color. Now obviously the number disappears because it's the same color as the background, but if we click on the eyedropper and we start going up in the color palette, we can see that giving it a kind of light bluish color creates a nice contrast. So a kind of turquoise blue. You can still read it, but it creates quite a nice effect. So I'm happy with that. Okay, while we're here, let's make the number bold, which we can do under number font weight. At the moment it's regular. Let's change it to bold, and it makes it really stand out. Okay, let's go and change the actual content, the actual number. So come to the Content tab, select Text, and where it says your title goes here, let's change that to, let's change it to satisfied clients. And the number, let's give it a random number of 42 satisfied clients. But you can see that on the number counter it says 42% satisfied clients, which isn't very good. So to fix that, close text and come to Elements, and where it says %sign, turn that off. So that reads as 42 satisfied clients. Now the last thing that we need to do is just increase the size of the title. So as usual, the fastest way to do that is to hover over it, select the paintbrush, and it takes us there pretty quickly. So scroll down until you get to title text size and increase. And I think I'm going to go for about, well, I don't want it on 2 lines, so let's go for 29 pixels. Okay, let's accept those changes and take a look. That looks pretty good to me. So I think what we can do now is duplicate this module into the remaining 3 columns. Now I showed you 2 methods for duplicating earlier. One was to use this duplicate button in the toolbar. The other one was to hold down Alt and drag the module. Another method, and maybe my favorite method, is if you just hover over the module and press Command or Control C, the shortcut to copy, and then just hover over the next module and press Command or Control V, it pastes it in. And do the same for the 3rd column and the 4th column. Okay, now what we need to do is to update column 2, 3 and 4, so they all have their own numbers. So come into the module settings for column 2, and what we're going to change this one to is 5 in the number, and we'll change the title to Dedicated Team Members. Okay, I think I'm happy with that, so accept that and come in to the 3rd module, and the number for this one will be 99.9 and the title will be Website Uptime. And that doesn't make much sense, but if we go into Elements and turn the %sign on, it means 99.9% website uptime. So I'm happy with that. Accept that and come into the 4th module, and for this one our number is just going to be 1, and we're going to say 1 office cat brackets ginger. Okay, a little fun one at the end. So let's take a look at that. That's looking pretty good. Now, as we did before, let's add a bit of extra padding to this section. So hover your mouse over the top of the section, drag down. I'm going to give it about 80 pixels, and let's do the same for the bottom, about 80 again. Maybe give a touch more at the top, 90. Yep, that looks good for now. So let's save those changes. And we will exit the Visual Builder. And we can see our home page is looking pretty good. If we scroll down, Meet the Team, and then Blue Fox in Numbers, we can see as we reach that section, the numbers start animating into view. It creates a nice effect. It means the page isn't just completely static. So I'm happy with our Blue Fox in Numbers section. Join me in the next section and we will carry on with our homepage. Your homework for this lesson is to take a look at the other counters that Divi has to offer. As well as the number counter, there is also the circle counter and the bar counter, which you can see here. Have a play around and see what you can come up with.
Hi, welcome back. Let's crack on. Here's the plan. We will create 3 dummy blog articles, and we will ensure our blog articles contain a title, content, and a featured image. Okay, so what we want to do is create a new section that will showcase 3 of our most recent blog articles. So before we can do that, we need to create our 3 blog articles. So what I need you to do is hover over New in the top toolbar and select Post, and we will add our first blog post. Blogs are a great way to disseminate company news or updates, and they're also really good for search engines. So if you have the time, I would recommend a blog for your website. Now, there are 3 main components for a blog post. First is the title, next is the content, and the third is the featured image. So let's give this blog post a title, and I'm going to say we have a new team member. Okay, and for the content, select Use Default Editor. So it's asking us to enter some text here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go to a website that I use quite frequently. It's called lipsum.com, and what it does is generate dummy text for us. So scroll down a bit and select the Generate Lorem Ipsum button. And it will give us a bunch of dummy text. So I'm just going to take maybe 3 paragraphs, copy that, come back to our website and just paste it in to the content there. So the next thing that we need to do is to add our featured image. So come over to the Document tab, scroll down until you get to Featured Image and select Set Featured Image. I've included appropriate featured images to use in your course files, so let's browse there now. On our desktop, Course Files, Section 02, and the one we're looking for is New Team Member. So there's our new team member. Select Open, upload that, and choose Select. And I think that's all the components of our blog post that we need. So if you're happy with that, select the Publish button to publish our first blog post. Let's take a little look at that. Select the View Post link. And there you can see we have a new team member, we have a big nice featured image, and we have our text, and we also have a commenting system down at the bottom. But one thing that's not quite right is this says uncategorized. So let's go and update the category for this. So select Edit Post from the top toolbar, and on the right hand side select Categories. And at the moment it's uncategorized. I'm going to add a new category, and I'm just going to call that Announcements, and hit Return. And just remove the uncategorized category there. So update that. Okay, I think that's our first blog post done. So to add a new post, just hover over New again and select Post. Okay, let's add a title to this one, and we'll call this one Our New Cat Ginger, and select Use Default Editor again. And I'm going to come back to lipsum.com, copy our 3 paragraphs, paste it in to the content there. Now to add a featured image, come over to Document, and since it's right there, let's add a category. We're going to call this category Office News. Okay, and now close that one. We're looking for featured image, so select Set Featured Image and upload, and select ginger.jpg. Upload that, select it,
And there we go. That should be our second blog post finished. So publish that. And we're going to add a new blog post. Okay, we're going to add a title, which I will make our latest client. And we'll select use default editor, come over to Lipsum, copy those 3 paragraphs, paste it in for the content, come over to the document tab and select your category. I'm going to give this one the category of clients. Okay, and now scroll down to featured image, set featured image, upload a file. And for this one, we're going to go for new website.jpg. So open that, select, and there we go. We have our title, our content, and our featured image. So select publish. Okay, so we have published our 3 blog articles. In the next lesson, we will make those blog articles appear on our homepage. I'll see you soon. Hello and welcome back. In this lesson, we will display our blog posts on the homepage, and we will arrange the blog posts in a grid. Okay, let's get started with our next section. So come to the homepage of the website and enable the visual builder. Okay, so scroll down to the bottom. After the blue fox in numbers section, we're going to add a new section, and it's going to be a regular section. Okay, when it gets to the insert row feature, just close that for now, because I think the easiest thing to do would just be to duplicate this blue fox in numbers header, and we can take the whole row. So hover over it and press Alt on your keyboard and drag it down into our new section, just like that, and release it. And it is in there, but it's the reason you can't see it is because it's white. So we have to go in and change the color of it. So we'll come into the module settings, come to design, and then heading text and heading text color. Let's go for this 333333 color that we added to our palette. And there we go. Okay, it's maybe a little too big, so if we scroll back up it's beneath it, to heading text size, bring it down a bit. Let's go for about 54 pixels. Okay, I'm happy with that, so save the changes. Now let's update the text of the heading. I'm going to go for latest from the blog ... Okay, now we're going to insert a new row and choose the 1 column layout. And the module that we're going to insert is blog. Select that. So the first thing it's asking us is how many posts do we want to display? Well, we only have 3 posts, but we only want to display the latest 3 posts on our homepage, so enter 3 there. Include categories. I'm going to include all of the categories. So if we scroll down a little on the page, you can see that it has inserted our blog posts, but they are in 1 big column rather than split into 3 columns, which is what we want. So to fix that, come to the Design tab and then select Layout, and you can see the layout at the moment is full width. What we want is grid, so select that. And there we go. You can see our blog posts are now split into 3 nice columns. Okay, I want to make a few design tweaks. I think this meta information here, which gives the author, the date, and the category, the font size is a little large for me, so I'm going to select the paintbrush to go straight to the meta text design options. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to come into the meta text size box here and just reduce it to 13 pixels. Looks good. Now what I want to do to make the blog post stand out a little more is I want to add a box shadow to them. So close the meta text, scroll down to box shadow, select that, and the type of shadow I want is the first one here, which will put a shadow all the way around the top, bottom, left and right of the blog post. So select that. Okay, so I think that's a little too heavy. I want to lighten up the shadow a little bit. So if you scroll down to where you see shadow color, select the eyedropper, and that will allow us to change the opacity of the shadow. So just take it down a little bit until it's a bit more subtle. I'm going to go for 0.13. You can still see it, the blog post stand out a little bit more, but it's not too in your face. Okay, so that was pretty easy, wasn't it? It's WordPress is automatically pulling through the latest 3 blog posts. Once a new one is published, it will push the oldest one off the list, and it just gets people interested in our blog and gives people an idea of what's going on at the company. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to add a button, a call to action button that will take users through to the blog. So I'm going to do that underneath this module. So select the grey plus icon to add a new module, and I'm going to add a button. Okay, so the button text, I'm going to go for read our blog, and the link just goes to /blog/. And I don't think this button looks right on the left there. It would be more balanced if it was in the center. So close the link tab, come along to the design tab, select alignment and select center align. That looks a bit better. Okay, now let's change some of the styles on our button. So close alignment and open button and select use custom styles for button. Okay, first of all, let's increase the size of the button a little bit. So we're at 20, let's go for 27. That's a nice big button there. And we're going to change the color to our default theme color, which is in our color palette here. There we go. And for this button, I want to show the icon before the user hovers over it. Usually the icon will appear once the user hovers over it, but for this one, let's do it a little bit different, just for a bit of variation. So scroll down, and where it says only show icon on hover for button, turn that off, and you'll see that the icon has appeared. I think that's looking pretty good. I think maybe one more thing we could do is to add a box shadow to the button. So if you scroll down to box shadow, and let's give it an all-around shadow like we did with the blog posts, and we will reduce the opacity on the shadow. So scroll down to shadow color and reduce the opacity down to about 0.21. That looks good. It's quite a subtle effect, but it makes the button stand out on the page a little bit. Okay, accept those changes and we'll take a look. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm pretty happy with our blog section. Just as we did in the other lessons, let's add a bit more padding. So I'm going to take the top padding and make it about 78, and for the bottom, let's give it a bit more space down here. Not as much, maybe about 70. So just have a look, see if that is well balanced, whether you find that visually appealing. I'm okay with that. It can always be tweaked later. But yeah, I'm happy with our blog section. I think we can move on. So join me in the next lesson. I'll see you soon. Hello and welcome back. Here's the plan. We will create a call to action section, and we will give our section a patterned background. Okay, let's get going. If you haven't already, enable the Visual Builder, and we're going to add a new section at the bottom of the page, make it a regular section. When it invites us to insert a new row, just close that, because we're going to copy our row from here, which is latest from the blog. So hover over the row settings, press Command or Control C to copy, come back down to our new section and press Command or Control V to paste. Okay, now we're going to update the text here. We're going to say, do you have questions? We have answers! Exclamation mark. Now we're going to do a similar thing that we did up at our top section, which is to highlight two of the words and make them our blue color and make them bold. So we're going to do that with questions and answers. So highlight the word questions and select the paint bucket tool and select our dark blue color from the color palette, and you can see it is changed. Now select the word answers, come to the paint bucket tool and select the dark blue color, and that one is changed too, and we will make that bold and come over to questions and make that one bold as well. So you can see it's actually dropped onto 2 lines now. By the way, if you want to get rid of this little toolbar, just press the escape key. So we need to go in and fix that so it's just on 1 line. So come into the module settings. To get to the settings quickly, select the paintbrush, and we're going to reduce the heading text size a little bit so it's on 1 line. Let's take it down to about 48 pixels and accept those changes. Now let's add a little subheading to this section. So the easiest way to do that is probably through the module settings. So come in there and insert a new line, and I'm going to go for we pride ourselves on our prompt professional communication, and highlight that and center align it. I always think a bold title and then a subheading always looks quite good. Right, so far with our sections we've generally gone for solid colors. I think it's time to mix things up a little bit with a pattern background for this section. So I will go to my go-to pattern website, which is Subtle Patterns. The address again, toptal.com/designers/subtle patterns. And I know the one that I want for this section. It's called Subtle White Feathers. So I'll search for that. And there it is. You can see it's very subtle, just a nice bit of texture to the background. So you could download that from there, but I've already got it in the course files, and so will you. So come back to the website and we're going to add it to the background for the section. So come into the section settings, and under background come along to the 3rd tab, which is the background image tab, and press the icon to upload files, select files. Now browse to wherever your course files are. Mine are on my desktop, and select Subtle White Feathers and add that. I got an HTTP error there, so let's try that again. Subtle White Feathers. Okay, it took it. So just select upload an image, and that doesn't look quite right, and the reason for that is it's set to cover, so it's being stretched across the full width of the page, which is not what we want. We want it to repeat. So first of all, set it to its actual size, and then for repeat, change it from no repeat to repeat. Okay, there's one more thing I want to do since we're in the section settings. Come along to the design tab, and we're going to add a border to the top of the section just to differentiate it from the section above. So select border and scroll down a bit, and we'll be asked to enter a border width. Just drag the slider to 1 pixel. That's a bit heavy, so we're going to reduce the opacity on that. So drag it right down until it's quite a subtle border. There we go, about 0.12 looks good to me. Okay, if you're happy with that, then save those changes. Let's leave that there, and we'll pick this up again in the next lesson. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon. Hello and welcome back. Here's the plan for this lesson. We will add our contact details to the call to action, and we will style our call to action. Okay, let's get going. If you haven't already, enable the Visual Builder, and we're going to add a new row underneath our heading here. So select the Add New Row button, and we're going to go for a row with 2 columns, which is the second one along. Okay, so Divi is inviting us to add a module to the left-hand column. For this one, we're going to add a text module. So select that, and it's put in some dummy text. Just delete the dummy text, and we're going to write get in touch, and we're going to make that an H2. Okay, just go ahead and save those changes, because I want to make a slight change to the row. I want to give it a different background color. So come into the row settings and select background and select add background color, and we're just going to give it a pure white background. So as you can see, the heading that we have is butting right up against the edge of our row. So to get rid of that, we need to change our padding. So come into the design tab and select spacing, and under custom padding, let's give 50 pixels on the top, the bottom, the left, and the right. So all of our content within that row will have plenty of space. The next thing I want to do is to add a box shadow around this row. So close spacing and open box shadow. And what I want is the all around box shadow, that one there. And what I need to do now is adjust the opacity so it's not quite as heavy. So select the color picker and reduce the opacity down to about 0.19. Looks good to me. Okay, so save those changes, and what I want to do now is to add a bit of space between the row here and the heading above. So what you can do, you can add some bottom padding to the header, about 57 will do, and I want to add some padding at the bottom. So increase the padding at the bottom down to about 90, and that'll do for now. Okay, let's go and add some text to our text module. So open the module settings, scroll down to the content, and I'm just going to write a little paragraph here, which will be, if you have any questions about any of our services or would like to request a quote, we'd be delighted to hear from you. Now I'm going to add another line, and I'm going to add our contact details. So I'm going to say telephone. I'm just going to use a fake number here, 222-222, and I'm going to press shift return to just do a line break and add email info@bluefoxwebdesign, and I'm going to put .com to make sure it's not a real email address, and I'm going to make telephone bold by pressing Command or Control B, and the same for email. Okay, just save those changes and let's take a look. Okay, that's a good start. We have our row set up. It kind of pops out of the page because we've got a bit of box shadow and it's got a background color. It stands out nicely against our section. We've got our text module on the left with contact details. So in the next lesson, we will add a contact form onto the right-hand column. So join me then. I'll see you soon.
Hello and welcome back. In this lesson, we will add a contact form to our call to action, customize our contact form, and we will test the form to ensure it's working. Okay, let's continue with our call to action section. So what we're going to do is to add a contact form into the right-hand column. So enable the visual builder if you haven't already, and on the right-hand column of our call to action row, select the Add New Module button. We're going to select contact form, so select that, and you can see Divi goes ahead and adds a nice new contact form for us. We have a name field, email address and message, and I think that's enough for our purposes. The only other one that I may put in there is subject, but I'm happy with those fields. So let's scroll down a bit on the settings, and you can see there's the option to add a title. So let's add the title of contact form, and a success message is what is displayed when the email is sent. So let's add thank you for getting in touch. Somebody will respond to your inquiry shortly. Don't think I've spelt that right. Inquiry inquiry shortly. Okay, that looks good. And the submit button, I'm happy with submit. So come down to the email accordion, and this is the email address that you want the form to be sent to. You can find that by hovering over or clicking on the little question mark symbol, and it says input the email address where messages should be sent. So I'm going to put info@davidsharkey.net. You would add your own email address into there, and message pattern, you don't have to worry about that. What it is, you can customize the email message that is sent, but I'm happy with the default Divi pattern. So close email. Now let's check the redirect tab. What you could do with a contact form is once somebody fills it in, it redirects to another page. To do that, we would select yes, and then we would add the URL where we want the user to be directed to. We don't necessarily want that, we just want a message to be displayed when the form is filled out. The other settings we're not going to bother. Feel free to look through them in your own time. So for now, just accept those changes, and we're going to save our changes by pressing Command or Control S. Then we're going to exit the Visual Builder, and let's scroll right down to the bottom, and let's check our contact form. So I'm going to say my name, my email address, and this is a test message to ensure our form is working. So we also have a CAPTCHA, which is a sum that the user is asked to complete just to prove that you're not a robot. That will cut down on the amount of spam you get with your contact form. So enter that and press submit. And you can see that our success message comes up. Thank you for getting in touch. Somebody will respond to your inquiry shortly. And I have my email open where that email gets directed to. So let's check that. It's not there just yet. So let's come back to our form. There's one more thing I want to do. So enable the Visual Builder. And what I noticed is that the button, the submit button, is the wrong color for our theme. So scroll down and enter the module settings and come to the design tab and select button and select use custom styles for button, and there in our color picker we have our theme color, and that changes it to our nice dark blue color. Okay, let's come back and check the email again because I think one has just come in. There it is, new message from Blue Fox Web Design, so I'll click on that. And there we have it. The message is, this is a test message to ensure our form is working, and we could reply to that and it will reply to the person that sent it. So that's all we need for our contact form. Nice and simple, but it works. Join me in the next lesson and we will start on our footer. See you soon. Hello and welcome back. In this lesson we will select the layout for our footer, specify the background color of our footer, and then we will add some widgets to our footer. Okay, let's get started adding a footer to our website. Now this black bar that you can see along the bottom, it is a type of footer, but Divi calls this the credits, which there's not room for much in here. It just says design by elegant themes, and then we have the social icons on the right hand side. But we want to add a proper footer onto our website, and then this credits bar will fall beneath our footer. So at the moment you can't see the footer because there are no widgets added to it. So let's take care of that now. So come to the theme customizer and select footer. And first of all, let's take a look at the layout. Now at the moment you can see it's on a 4-column layout. If you press this drop down, you can select from lots of different types of column layouts for the footer. For our footer though, I think we'll just stick with 4 columns, 4 evenly spaced columns. And the footer background color, we won't be able to see it just yet because we've got no widgets added, but I'm going to go
for a kind of dark blue color. So I'm going to select our theme. Oh, there it is. You can see it now. I'll select our theme color, but then I want to go a bit darker than that. So bring the color picker down a bit until we're getting into some quite dark blues. Okay, I'm going to go for that, which is 00013F. We can always tweak it at a later date, but I'm happy with that for now. So press the publish button. So now what we need to do is to add widgets to our footer, which will make actual content appear. So go back in the customizer and go back again out of footer, and we need to go into widgets. So scroll down a bit and select widgets. Now you can see that there are 6 widget areas set up. We only need the first 4 because we selected a 4-column layout. So let's open the first footer area widget and select add a widget. And WordPress will present us with lots of different options here. Now our first widget, I'm just going to make it a text widget. So just search for text and select text. And WordPress will ask us for a title and then some content for our widget. So I'm going to give this the title of About Us. And there it is. So I like to do this in the footer because if a visitor stumbles across your website by visiting a blog post or your portfolio page, there's information about the company in the footer. They don't then have to go to the About Us page or the home page to find out any more. So let's add a little bit of content here. I'm going to say we are a web design company based in New York City, offering beautiful modern websites at affordable prices. Okay, so you can see that in the customizer it's updating instantly onto our website. Now beneath that I think I will add our logo. So add a new line and select add media. From the media library select our logo and insert it into the post. And it should appear. There it is. That's looking okay. I'm happy with that for now. We can always tweak that. And by the way, if you ever need to, or if you ever want to see the website in full view without the customizer bar, you can select hide controls, and you can see it looks a bit better once we hide the customizer controls. To get the customizer back, just select this little blue arrow again and they'll come back. Okay, so that's our first widget completed for now. So scroll back up and come out of footer area 1 and come into footer area 2. We're going to add a widget, and the widget that I want to add is a list of our recent posts. So scroll down until you see recent posts and select that. Okay, it's asking us for a title again. I'm just going to put recent posts, and I only want to show 3 blog posts because that's all we have at the moment. And you can see our 3 blog posts that we set up earlier are automatically being pulled through, and they're all links to the full blog post. Okay, we are done with footer area number 2, so come back out and enter footer area number 3 and select add a widget. So I want to display a list of the pages on our website. So I could do that by selecting pages, but that will just mean WordPress automatically outputs all of the pages on our website. I don't think that gives us enough control over what is displayed or the order of them. So I find it easier just to add a navigation menu, and then what we can do is add the navigation menu that we set up earlier, the same one that's in our header. So select main nav, and you should see that our navigation menu is added there in the same order: home, about us, portfolio, blog, and contact us. We've got to give that one a title, which I will call pages. Okay, that's footer area number 3 completed. So come into footer area number 4, add a widget, and this is going to be another text widget. This is going to be a contact us section. So give it the title of Contact Us. And for the content, I'm going to say, if you have any questions, we'd be delighted to hear from you. And then I'm going to give a telephone number, just say T, and I'll give a fake telephone number, 241-587. I'm going to do Shift Enter to add a line break, and I'm going to say e:info@bluefox.com. And you can see it appearing over here. Okay, let's hide the controls on our theme customizers so we can see it at full size. And yeah, that's looking pretty good to me. I'm happy with that footer, a nice 4-column layout. So if you're happy with that, then open up the theme customizer controls again and select the Publish button. Now, if you did want to customize the look of your footer a little bit more, you would come out of the widget section, come into Footer and select Widgets, and in there you would have the option to increase the heading text size if we wanted to do that. You could change the body size, so we could bring that down a little bit, and you've got options for the line height and widget text color, heading color, bullet color. There's a lot of different scope for customizing your footer there. I personally, I'm happy with the way that looks. You can feel free to play around if you like, but I'm going to leave it there for this lesson, and we'll pick it up in the next lesson where we will customize the credit bar at the bottom. So I'll see you soon.
Hello and welcome back to the final lesson of this section. In this lesson we will add a link to our privacy policy to our credits bar, add a copyright message, and we will select which social media icons we wish to display. Okay, so for the final piece of our homepage, we want to edit this bottom bar down here where it says Designed by Elegant Themes, powered by WordPress, and we've got some social icons on the right hand side that we need to update. So I'll show you how to edit this bottom bar. You do so by going into the Theme Customizer and selecting Footer and selecting Bottom Bar. Let's scroll down on our website so we can see it. Okay, I'm happy with the background color. The text color, I'm okay with that. I think you can still read that. Font size, everything there is fine. So to edit the text in the footer credits, you would do so in this box here. So if I type copyright Blue Fox Web Design 2019, and let's add the copyright symbol at the start here, which is and copy semicolon, and it comes up with a little copyright symbol. So the other thing I want to do here is I want to link to our privacy policy. Now there's no easy way to do that within this box here because there's no HTML features. There's no normal WordPress editor, so I'll show you a different way of accomplishing that. For now, let's publish those changes and close the customizer. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is to make our privacy policy or privacy policy live. The way it's set up by default is WordPress creates it as a draft. So come into privacy policy under pages, and over on the right hand side just select the publish button, and that should be it. Publish now. Obviously you will have to customize your privacy policy to make it specific to your website, such as adding your contact information and things like that, but I'm fine with it as it is. So come over to all pages on the left hand side, and we're just going to add a new page, which will just be a temporary page just for the purposes of obtaining a link to the privacy policy. So select Use Default Editor, and I'm just going to type privacy policy, and I'm going to highlight that, and then I'm going to click the little link icon,
and I'm going to search for privacy, and it should find our privacy policy page, which is there, and accept that. And you can see it goes underlined to indicate that it's a link. Now we need to copy the HTML of this link, so you can do that by selecting more options and then select edit as HTML, and that is the HTML that we need. It's got paragraph tag and the link to our privacy policy. So after that you come back to your theme customizer by going appearance customize. Just leave that page. Now we're going to navigate back to our bottom bar, which is in footer, and then bottom bar. Scroll down on the page so that we can see it, and at the end of the copyright I'm going to insert a pipe, which is usually just above the enter key on your keyboard. You have to press shift to get it, and then I'm going to paste in the HTML that I copied from the page, and there it is on the bottom line. I'd prefer this on one line, so I think what I'll do, I'll reduce the font size a little bit, which is just above the footer credits box. And oh, sorry, I know why that's happening. It's because there's a paragraph tag. It means it's dropping onto a new line. So delete the P tags and it should go onto one line. Then we could probably put the font size back up to 14. There we go, that looks pretty good. So if you're happy with those changes, press publish. Now the last thing we need to do is to update our social media links, which we do so in the theme customizer. So come back to the WordPress dashboard, and on the left hand menu look for Divi and then go into theme options. Okay, it's here on the general tab if you scroll down. So it's asking us which social icons we want to show. For the purposes of this website, we're just going to have Facebook and Twitter. So I'm going to disable Google+. I don't think that even exists anymore. And I'm not going to show an RSS icon either. So the next thing we need to do is update our Facebook profile URL and Twitter profile URL. Obviously we don't have a real one set up for this company, so for Facebook I'm just going to put facebook.com, and Twitter I'm just going to put twitter.com, but obviously you would put the real URL of your Facebook and your Twitter. Okay, so that's that done. Let's go and save those changes. Now let's go back to our homepage and take a look at our bottom bar. Okay, so we can see we've got copyright, Blue Fox Web Design 2019. We've got our privacy policy link there. Let's click on it, just make sure it works. There we go. There's our privacy policy. Let's go back. And there's our Facebook link and our Twitter link. Google Plus and RSS are no longer there. Okay, so I think we are done with our homepage. Thank you for joining me throughout this section. In the next section, we're going to take a look at adding a few enhancements to the homepage, such as hover effects, animations, and separators to really just take the homepage design just up another level. So thank you very much for joining me in this section, and I do hope you'll be joining me in the next one. I'll see you soon.